All right, welcome back to our new segment, introducing the Hot Takes segment. We're your hosts. That's all. That's as far I got with the intro. But
Wonderful. We'll workshop that.
I think it'll be fun. Basically, the tech world is full of hot takes, and we always have random, things that we're thinking, but we don't really say, but also maybe other people are thinking them too, and we'll just put them out there and see how it goes. I'm starting off kind of spicy with my hot take, and we've got you don't have any hot takes, right?
I couldn't think of one. I
might have to borrow some.
I think Adam's got a couple over there though, so we'll let him toss a few out.
We'll borrow some of those. But let's just dive right in, because I want to see how far this gets before I end up either canceling myself, or we'll see.
Please
don't. All right. Number one, I'm going to start with, we were talking earlier about Celsius and Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this isn't even my hot take. This is something I saw on Twitter and thought about, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I agree with that. That yes, the US should move to metric, but
okay,
Fahrenheit is better for weather, and that will be the reason we don't.
That will be. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, because that didn't start off. That was like cold.
So
I think we can all agree we should probably go to metric, right?
Right. The imperial system's insane. We have feet. We have all these weird degrees Fahrenheit versus ounces and all these crazy things. We don't really gallons versus liters. All these terrible.
And we're not even that consistent with it. Like soda is sold in liters, but milk is sold in gallons.
Gasoline's in gallons versus we've got
very
fluid ounces. I'm asking Google for conversions all the time. I would love to switch to metric.
Wait. Can I throw out just a little gripe I have that's really relevant right now? Google Home, when I ask you to convert something, just tell me the freaking conversion. I don't need to know how to convert it. I bought you for a reason. Please just say, yes, that is 1 cup is equal to X amount of grams.
You have to ask it the perfect way, or it'll go.
I don't want to. That's its job. That's not my job. Yeah. It's not paying me money to learn how to do it. Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So my thing is Fahrenheit, and just the scale that we use for weather. This isn't even for anything else. Water boils at 32 or freezes at 32, but boils at 212 in Fahrenheit. It's a weird system.
It's dumb.
But for weather, humans are very sensitive to temperature change, and there is a real difference between 68 and 72. And obviously decimals aren't the hardest thing in the world to get, but that was the one argument I saw on Twitter, which is if we could just use Fahrenheit just for weather, just to go from our, -10 or whatever to 105 degrees, that granularity, it's right there in the system itself. You don't have to use decimals nearly as often. That's the reason I think Fahrenheit so stubbornly stays. And if you keep Fahrenheit for degrees, then I guess you got to keep Fahrenheit for all temperature measurement instead of just weather. You also now measure water boiling and all the other things. Now we're just stuck on imperial forever. So I think because of how great Fahrenheit is for weather, we're stuck.
That's my hot take. I kind of understand your point in that if there's a difference between the generally 4 degrees in 68 to 72. I don't know if I really buy that much. I don't think there's much. I will agree if I look on the weather and it says 70, if it says a number in the 70s versus a number in the 60s, that to me, I'm happier. I don't know if I go outside and I generally feel the difference all that much. I still think it gets confusing though, where it's snow at 32 degrees, not at 0.
Yeah.
I mean, we're clearly not hitting boiling yet. I mean, we're well on our way to getting boiling outside, but I don't know.
I sound like such a Fahrenheit stan, but listen, temperature, think about grades you get in school. The difference between a B and a B plus. No, really, it's 84 is a B.
That's such a different argument.
85 is a B, then 86 is a B plus. Why did we go from 85 to 86 being B to B plus? You'd rather have a B plus than a B. And that difference is 1, and that's a 0 to 100 scale. Our temperature that we live in here is generally a 0 to 100 scale. Sometimes it's a little below 0 or a little above 100, but generally that's where we're living. The granularity in that perfect set of numbers, just from 0 to 100, is what makes Fahrenheit great. Everywhere else it sucks.
Yeah.
Everywhere else it sucks.
I'll give you this. If we were in a bubble And the only thing that would change, if I could only pick Fahrenheit versus Celsius and nothing else like really mattered, like sure, I'll pick Fahrenheit over Celsius because it's a tad bit nicer. But if we're just talking
There it
about
is.
like,
He agreed.
if we're
There
just talking
it
about the
is.
whole thing, like I would rather change everything to metric
Of course.
and then get Celsius and
Of course.
do away with Fahrenheit and be like, oh no, it's 60 or it's 20.5 degrees Celsius outside.
Yeah, I just remember like changing the degrees in a car would be like 19.5, 20, 20.5. I'm like, that's interesting. It's going by 0.5s. Whereas like I'm just going by degrees.
The car argument might be a better argument if you want to make that, I think, because like if I'm in a lot of cars now, the temperature gauge, it's not just, red and blue. It's like you're doing an actual number. And when I'm picking a number, sometimes I am just going down 2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So like that's probably, I think that's the better way of like
air
really
conditioning.
feeling it.
Air conditioning temperatures, there is this very small range of air conditioning temperatures. You might go from 65 Fahrenheit to 75 Fahrenheit. At least in this region in the US. Like 65 to 75 Fahrenheit is 10 Fahrenheit degrees, which is probably about 5 Celsius degrees. So now you're doing... Anyway, this is all nitpicking. I would much rather have everything go metric and accept the one downside of Celsius being less accurate in the middle.
I'm tired of feeling like an idiot going to other countries and just not understanding anything at all. I mean,
Canada.
That's mostly on me, but if I can blame it on the US, I would prefer to blame it on someone else.
Oh, school systems. All right, Adam.
Hit
it's
us.
hot take time.
Okay. Are you ready to potentially have both of us go at you?
Oh, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Okay.
Okay. My hot take is foldable phones are not the future.
Foldable phones. And do you have a reason, or it's just not feeling it?
I think that they're going to be very niche in the way that like the Note series for the Galaxies were niche. But most people are not going to want to deal with one extra step before getting to their phone. I think by the time that foldable phones are ready, quote unquote, there's going to be a different form factor that we're all using.
You know what's funny? I actually don't think that's a hot take.
Damn.
I think that's probably what most people also think.
Damn.
They see a folding phone. I agree. I think it's funny because I'd consider myself pretty optimistic where I think if the tech gets good enough that folding in half is just one more feature, I've said this before, then maybe people will just get the folding version and it's just a no-brainer. But that is a lot of assumptions. That's a lot of tech that has to improve to make that possible.
I would go, I don't think folding phones are in the next 10 years are going to be anything more than super niche. I think if they do get to a point, so your main argument I feel like is the extra step. We're seeing the outside screens where like in general, they should be just as capable as your regular candy bar phone right now.
Yep.
The problem is they're super thick and they're just not. Like we're not at that point.
Yeah,
especially the first fold. That was terrible.
That was the first one. Yeah.
That
so we're in like
They've gotten much better.
generations 2 and 3 right now. So if we're going the next 10 years, imagine it gets better the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And the cameras get better and the screens get better and the batteries get thinner and everything about every single component that makes them too thick right now or a little too unwieldy right now. All the hinges get smoother. Everything gets better for 8 more generations in a row. Will that still not be good enough? Don't know. I'm optimistic.
I think it has to reach that point and has to reach that point with a price point that's competing with everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, price is a feature.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think even if everything got perfect, I still don't think.
Do you have a guess at what the different form factor might be? Because I love this question. We've had this conversation before, and I really enjoy people thinking about different form factors of phones.
So this is going to be very boring, but I think we have the perfect form factor already.
You're
just
right.
a slab of glass in my
I think
pocket.
about that a lot, yeah. When you see a movie that takes place in the future, they inevitably just have like a candy bar form factor thing with like a projection at best.
I was going to say, is the new form factor essentially like a projection or even like almost like a non-physical thing? Like let's imagine Google Glass in the future where now you are seeing your phone in a viewpoint that only you can see and like, hand movements or something is what's actually doing the typing.
Well, that's more than 10 years.
Because like who cares about a screen that can fold to be 6 inches when you can have a screen that's 60 inches that only you can see?
I think there's going to be a lot of that, but I think that the main hub of all of the computing that's going on is still going to be the phone in your pocket.
Yeah, I agree. I think I consider myself short-sighted when I think that, but I can't help but think that. So
I would still call it a hot take, though. I think there's a lot of people that would disagree with that, and
we'll see about those comments. We'll see where we land.
I'm actually really interested in people. If people on our Discord and the podcast discussion section, I would really like to hear your opinions, because I kind of do. I don't know. I think they're going to be a thing eventually. I just think we're way farther than we think.
It might not be a hot take, but it's a slow burn.
Slow burn.
Yeah. All right. Hit us with another one. All
right. Another one. Garmin makes the best smartwatches.
That is a hot take. I would say, now I've never used the Garmin smartwatch, but when you say the best smartwatch, my brain immediately goes to Apple Watch. So now you have to kind of probably qualify. Yeah. Best smartwatch overall, or best smartwatch that isn't for the iPhone?
I would argue best smartwatch overall, because even with Apple devices, the only thing that people genuinely care about is notifications and health features. Mm-hmm. And Garmin is just as good, if not better, with health features. And the higher end models, which are super expensive, also handle notifications very well. They just don't plug into iPhone the way that the Apple Watch does, for obvious reasons.
I think that's maybe the reason the Apple Watch has such a strong foothold. And I think the reason the Apple Watch is the most popular watch in the world isn't because it's technically better than the Garmin's, but it does plug into the iPhone user in a way that none others can. And it's almost unfair that that's what makes it the best smartwatch, but that's a big part of why it's the best smartwatch.
Well, popular or best?
Both. It is the most popular because it is the best option. And I also think aesthetics might be a little of a underrated thing, since it is technically a fashion accessory. Mm-hmm. A lot of people...
You think it goes in favor of Apple Watch?
In favor of the Apple Watch.
I would argue the exact opposite. I would argue the majority of people who enjoy, and I'm sure Adam can insist, he's a watch person.
That's true.
If you are a watch person, the Apple Watch is not something you're excited to get.
But how many humans on Earth are
watch people?
Watch person.
Or like
7 of us.
Typical watch. There are a lot. I mean, you can be a watch person without being like a Rolex, like expensive watch person. But watches just in general, like in terms of the fashion accessory that they are, and like if we're talking about wearing a watch with like a suit or something like that, or as a like kind of dress up fashion, Apple Watch doesn't quite hit that, where regular watches do, and Garmin watches are closer to that. Now, I also have a Garmin watch that I would not consider like really looking that much like a normal watch, because it's a very standard version of it, but I do love it for the health features that it has. I'll only really wear it when I'm working out. It's fine. I think the one Adam has is much, much nicer than I have, and it just looks like a watch. That's what watches look like these days.
I think I could agree with that. The Garmin watch is a better smartwatch for some people, but I think the Apple Watch is actually, for a lot of iPhone users, the best available overall smartwatch.
For iPhone. Well, so here's the thing.
Which is a lot of people.
And I also think in terms of most popular, if you are looking at a Garmin watch to buy and you're not 100% sold on it already, you're looking at other companies that make things that are similar. If you are in the market for just a smartwatch and you only have one option, Apple Watch doesn't have competitors in my eyes, because the people who an Apple Watch works for, it doesn't have a competition really. Yeah. Does that mean it's the best? You could probably argue that.
Yeah. Well,
that's the thing. It's because iPhones are very popular.
I got to try one of these Garmin ones.
That is a hot take.
I do. I'll end it with this. I need to try a Garmin smartwatch, because I have not tried one yet, and I'm seeing a lot of good looking ones.
Because I do believe also there are a lot of ones that also have the secondary like monitors that you can hook up if you're trying to get like really intense because like body measurements and stuff like that.
Most of what I use the watch for is the health features, meaning fitness tracking and that sort of thing, time and notifications, and then sort of like a once in a while I'll be like, what's the weather on my watch? Or I'll ask Siri something, but that's very rare. So yeah, I'm going to try one of those out.
Garmin definitely has everything you were just talking about.
Sweet. Yeah. Thanks for watching this Waveform clip. If you want to subscribe to the Waveform Clips channel, which is what you're on right now, definitely do that below. Also, definitely make sure you watch the full episode. We always link that below on the main podcast channel. Also, listen anywhere. If you want to listen to some audio-only version, you can definitely do that.
You can.
And subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. Subliminal messaging. It's working, right? You hit the like button too, right? You hit it. Okay, cool. See you later.